Alright, here we are back on the 5.9 Cummins, 1993. I just took all the valves out and the valve stem seals. I'm going to put brand new ones in that came with my gasket kit. The only thing I did find that I didn't like was there was this white, I don't know, stain around this section, this valve, and I cleaned it up, and it looked sort of like that. You see that in there? So I don't know what that is. It's actually easy to scrape out. This is a recess here. It's hard to see, but you take a razor blade and just run it around and it cleans it right out. So otherwise it's been scraped. I found on this head that the carbide scrapers, you can get these off of Amazon. They work really well. You got to be careful because you can certainly scratch the heck out of the head. So I'm going to clean the carbon off the, I don't know what you'd call this, the shroud around the seat. The one thing I did on one of the valves, let's see if I can show you. Okay, this is the valve. See the margin, the edge here? It was completely coated with probably at least a 30-second thick of carbon. So it would stick out, and that would potentially reduce some of the airflow. So I put this in the lathe and then gently laid a file on it and ground off all the carbon, so it's pretty nice. The seats are, you know, they're pretty good. If the camera will focus on one and not the other. The seats are, the faces of the valves are pretty good, the seats are pretty good. I've inspected these two closely with a flashlight, and I got to inspect the rest obviously. And then I number them. That's a 1. So I lay everything out here in order, the keepers, everything. The only thing I did wrong is where is it? There's a matching keeper to that one that's missing. It's laying here somewhere. They fall off and they don't make much sound when they drop, and I don't know if it's on the floor. Anyway, it's the only screw up I really got. So the goal today is to get all the valves put back in and the valve stem seals put on, and then springs and keepers and all that crap. So that way the head is reassembled and ready to reinstall. Only thing I had to do is a lot of carbon scraping. The reason I left it upright like this is because when you scrape the surface, it falls straight down. Very little of it falls in all these bolt holes and coolant holes and oil holes. As you can see, it falls on the table. It falls across the empty filter. See, and that to me is easier to clean up the head when you're done. Now, when it's sitting like this, I can take compressed air from the other side and blow air outward this way and blow everything out when it's ready to go on. Something I learned about my Harbor Freight hoist is that it won't hold that weight. It's not really holding it, it's just keeping it from falling over, but it would deflate the hydraulic ram. So this piece of wood right here is exactly 13 inches long, and I just baling wired it on there, and it's been on there over a week. So it holds everything up just like that, so it's just the same as it was when I left. Otherwise, this thing was coming, you know, 45 degrees, so I didn't want it falling off the table in the middle of the night. So that worked out pretty good. I use these plastic bags to cover everything when I'm done working on it. We live in a dusty area, as is most of the planet. It's not hard having the turbo left on there and the exhaust. It's really not in the way. So I'm happy to have done it. It takes a little bit of help. Somebody has to hold this up a little bit for it to drop in level, but it's all right. Anyway, so as you've seen in probably other videos, you see these curved grinding marks. That's when they face this head off. That's what it leaves. So you just scrape down until you hit those, and then you stop. You don't go any further because you don't want to take any metal off. It's cast iron. It's pretty hard, but against carbide, it's not hard at all. So just be very careful. Just take it down till you see the Some people call them Blanchard marks, but the grinding marks that are left on here, that's as far down as you want to take it. And I've checked across the head in a couple places. It's pretty flat. So mine wasn't really blown badly, as I showed you in previous video. Where is it? Anyway, there's a place on this head that I didn't like, on this gasket that I didn't like. But I think what I've learned is somebody's been into this. This is not original. So I've had it for 10 years, and I don't know, there's another 15 years to account for, and the kid before me only had it for 1 or 2 years. So the one thing that's definitely not okay is the locator pin. Well, whatever, it's hollow, but it goes in here, and if you push it, it goes all the way in flush with the head. So this was in flush. It was not locating the head on the block at all when I took it apart. The other one is in the block. So I took this one and cleaned it up, and it'll slide in okay instead of being tight, and then I'll take a soft hammer and pound this into the block good, and then we'll have the head located properly. So one, it wasn't located at all, which, you know, you got head bolts, a bunch of head bolts, that'll probably take care of it. But, you know, you don't want to try to pretend to be an automotive engineer. You want to just make it the way the factory had it. And that's how things last a long time. So anyway, that's pretty much all that needs to happen. Let me show you the block. It's not a, you know, everybody's seen this before. You can see the grind marks across it. Here is where that location pin goes, that dowel, and it was stuck in the head. It wasn't in the block at all. So tap it in here. You can see the other one right there. Those are the two. You got to make sure they're in place. Just tap them with a soft hammer. You don't want to distort them. So the next thing on the block is I scraped the rest of it today, and it's pretty, I think it's ready to go. I bought an air nozzle I've seen a guy use on YouTube. It's got a small tube so it'll fit down in the bolt holes and blow all the chunks out. So the problem is you got to use a rag or something around there, around it to capture the oil and the garbage. And a couple of these are completely full of oil. I was a little surprised by that. So anyway, because there's only a couple oil holes. I think, isn't that an oil hole and that's an oil hole? And maybe there and there and there. So I guess there's an oil hole per rocker assembly. Anyway, so this is pretty much ready to go. I would love to, nothing more than to drop this all together. It stays a lot cleaner. I keep, like I said, those plastic bags on it, and then I use a level that has a magnet on one end. I use this on the other to glue that down, and then a piece of wood on this edge over here, and that keeps the wind. It's been staying clean for a week now, because that's how long it takes me to do this. Anyway, so that's ready to roll. So all we got to do is finish this mess. I think I'm forgetting something. It's so important I can't remember it. All the bolts and everything are covered under plastic. They're sterile clean. The rockers. Oh yeah, I got to check the bolts for stretch. I got to take a set of calipers and pick one and then compare it to all the rest. And if they're all the same, they're either all stretched, they're all okay. So there is, I don't know if it's in my Velcro gasket set or not. Yeah, you know, I don't see a template that shows you how to check the length. You can probably print it out online. I think there's a couple guys that have posted PDF files, and then you can double check the length of the bolts and make sure nothing's stretched. Well, is there anything else? Yeah, and you know, cover everything with plastic bags and rubber bands, man. Keep it all clean inside. That really matters, especially if it takes you as long as it takes me to get something like this done. Anyway, I'll get back to it. You got to inspect the valve seats, make sure there's no cracks. It doesn't look like there's any cracks, but that white stuff might have been burnt antifreeze. I had no antifreeze loss, but you know, that white stuff is not normal for a diesel. So, all right, I'm mumbling and rambling and happy I've gotten this far. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye. All right, here's the other side of the head. You can see the brand new valve stem seals with the gold band on it. They're just holding the valve from sliding out right now because by hand I can't push them on tight enough. And yes, they are lubricated with oil and I can't get them on, so I'll figure that out later. But I wanted you to see that the valve stem seals are on, and the valve cover gasket surfaces have all been cleaned and wiped down really good. This head could be a lot cleaner, I suppose, but that's just how it's going to go for now. Nothing new on this side, I guess. There's all the valve stem seals sitting there, the old ones. They seem to work all right, but you know, it's got 191,000 miles on it, plus let's see, 93, 27 years old. So, you know, okay, they came in my Felpro gasket set. So I also cleaned all the valves off, the faces and everything, just cleaned them up nice, numbered them, so I got them all in the same place, in the correct location. And I think that'll do it for now. I'll figure out how to push those things on, because I can't do it. I used all my strength and it just won't go on. So that will come later. Everything's covered in plastic, as you can see. I use a magnet here and a magnet over here to hold that piece on right there, and it keeps all the crud off of it, and we're getting there. I think once I get the valve stem seals on, then the springs and the keepers go on. They're right here. They're all in order. Probably doesn't matter, but I'm just going to do it that way because it's easy. These magnetic trays from Harbor Freight or wherever you want to get them are super helpful. They are just crazy helpful. And you can put them, you can arrange stuff the way you need to arrange it. So here we are. A huge step taken today. It's all sealed up. Just got to put the springs back on, which are right here. And once the springs and the keepers are on, then we're good. Let's see if I can remember this. I forgot already, but the springs are two different sizes. Mine are in order, so the intake valve gets the short one, the long one gets to the exhaust. You can see how they alternate every other one. And I may have made that clear earlier, because if I forget, I'm in trouble. Alright, that's it for now. See you, bye.